for Bring Your Own Lunch. Personal stories about the business with my daddy, Dave T. Koenig.
All right, come on in, have a seat, welcome. This is the Bring Your Own Lunch podcast at bringyourownlunch.com, the magic of iTunes, the majesty of Stitcher, and however you find your way to download this podcast, I thank you. As you heard at the top, my name is Dave T. Koenig. I'm an actor, writer, director, producer, comedian, all-around swell dude. I refuse to admit I'm sick. And of course, I'm the host of the podcast you're listening to right now. BYOL is the hashtag we use. If you want to get involved on social media and say hi, you can like us on Facebook.com/BringYourOwnLunch. You can follow us on Twitter at BYOL Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at BringYourOwnLunch. There's like a Spreaker, and there's some other outlets out there, YouTube and what have you. But if all that's too confusing and you want a one central location for everything, we got you covered. You can go to the website, the mothership, if you will, bringyourownlunch.com. You can find out all the information about the guests on this program, past, present, and presumably future. This week, we've got a great guest, Jenn Mello. She is a producer and entrepreneur. She's also a well-trained actor and singer. But right now, she is focused on the company that she founded, Film Interchange. It's a group dedicated to bringing together filmmakers and facilitating their efforts to get their films made. And it's a great organization, and they hold regular events, and we will talk a lot with Jenn about that. I have been to their events. In fact, that's where I met Mark Farrell, who's been a guest on this program. It was due to a Film Interchange event that I was able to make contact with Mark. I learned a ton from him, and I think what Jenn and Film Interchange do are great. And I think she's got a really interesting story, and she's very inspirational for anybody out there who wants to take their acting career and allow it to evolve into something new and exciting and very, very self-fulfilling, which seems to be the case with Jenn. And she's very excited about her upcoming season because they've got a lot of great guests, and things are going very, very, very well for her. And I think the conversation you will find to be really, really informative. So get ready to take down some notes, because definitely some really good advice in this one. That's coming up in a little bit. Myself, I am getting ready to do a play reading and the short film at some point in the next few weeks. And that's all great stuff. But I learned last night that sometimes I get more excited when other people do well. It's not often. I'm not like a saint or anything. You know, I've got feelings, and I want myself to do well. But every once in a while, you hear good news about good people. And Ato Essandoh, who was a guest back on BYOL episode 3 way back then, not only is he getting lots of great attention for his portrayal in the HBO series Vinyl, he also made headlines last night because he's going to be joining the cast of the next Bourne film. The Bourne Ultimatum, Bourne Identity, all that stuff. They're bringing back that film series in 2016 with original Bourne Matt Damon, as well as Julia Stiles, Tommy Lee Jones, Alicia Vikander, and Vincent Cassel. But right now, my real interest is the fact that they have hired my friend Ato to take on one of the roles in that film that will begin shooting next year. They don't have a lot of details out there right now. They're keeping it very hush-hush, but I think they made a great choice in going with Ato because he is proving to be one of the top actors out there, and somebody I'm very happy to call a friend, and somebody I'm very proud to say was a guest right here on this podcast. So if you want, go back and listen to episode 3, because you'll hear Ato's story, which is one of my favorites of all time, and he's just a great guy. So all the success that he enjoys is well-deserved, and he's making everybody who's ever worked with him proud. So way to go, Ato. Keep it going. That's awesome. All right, keeping it short this week because, honestly, I am a little bit under the weather. You may hear it in my voice now, and you'll certainly hear it in the interview coming up, which, by the way, occurred in a very unique location for this podcast. You'll hear us explain a little bit more about it during the podcast, but I met up with Jenn Mello at a Dunkin' Donuts on Route 23 in Butler, New Jersey. And the only reason I mentioned that, not to do a commercial or promote them, but the people who were working there, Singyi and Shafi, they were super nice to us, and I wanted to say thank you. So go visit my friends Singyi and Shafi at Dunkin' Donuts on Route 23 in Butler, New Jersey, if you happen to be in the neighborhood. And by all means, tell them Dave says hi, and thanks for letting me do the podcast at their fine establishment. Also, if you want to say hi to somebody, go say hi to Banuba, banuba.net, BANOOBA.net. That's the band that plays the music at the beginning, middle, and end of this show. They are fantastic. Go to their website, download their music, buy their music, go see them live, support them the way they support Bring Your Own Lunch. And if you want to support Bring Your Own Lunch yourself, you can always go to iTunes or Stitcher, your pick, and rate, review, and subscribe to Bring Your Own Lunch. Every time we get somebody joining on that way by either writing a review or giving us a number of stars or more, and perhaps most importantly, subscribing to the show, you tell iTunes and Stitcher that we're doing good stuff and that they should tell other people about what we're doing so that our numbers can grow and we can continue bringing you this thing each and every week with some amazing guests who offer incredible advice to anybody at any stage in any aspect of this business. And that's what we're here for, and that's what I want to continue to bring to you. So the more you let people know what's going on here, the better off we'll all be. All right, let's get into it with Jenn Mello, CEO and founder of Film Interchange from Dunkin' Donuts on Route 23 in Butler, New Jersey. Entrepreneur, New Jersey native, Tar Heel, chorus child? We'll find out. Here's Jenn. Enjoy. We're here at Dunkin' Donuts on Route 23 in Butler, New Jersey.
That's where we are, yeah.
That's where we are, which is the closest I've actually come to having Bring Your Own Lunch at a place where somebody could literally get food.
Yeah.
So it's historic.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
I feel fancy and special.
Yeah. And for us, it was a matter of convenience because you're a hard driving type.
Oh yeah, hard driving. Yeah. Well, I've been I've been a New Yorker for 11 years now. 11 years, but I recently moved out to New Jersey just temporarily to focus on building Film Interchange, my company. It just was a way to do it. That was just. I was out in the country, back with my family, and it's been really good to just kind of get out here and
Where were
focus.
you in the city?
I lived in Washington Heights for a while. I lived in Harlem. Kind of definitely like what I lovingly refer to as the upper West Side.
Yes, yeah.
you know,
that's what real estate agents like to call it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
As do I. And it's great. I love it up there.
Yeah, actually, it's become really, really popular place for people to go, and it doesn't live up to the stigma it once had, which was deserved at one point, but certainly not now.
Right.
And if you're looking for a place to live in New York City, that's not a terrible choice.
I think it's a great choice.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
I mean, it's really up and coming and beautiful. But
yeah, good for them.
I'm biased.
Yeah, why not? So now being able to focus on what you're doing, do you find that it's worked? I mean, is it helping you to focus?
Yeah, without question. I think, when you're in the city for a long time, you just get used to that, like that fast pace and let's just be clear, like the city is very expensive to live. And I was just like anybody else holding down my 9 to 5 and it was too much work. I had so much work during my work day, quote unquote, to then come home and build this business. I was exhausted. And I thought, you know what, let me just go to the country. We'll just play it by ear, and I'm just going to stay there until I feel like I have a solid model. I've really been playing around with the model of my company for the better part of this year, and I finally I've hit what I think is exactly on point. Which is great, and well, I was thinking about when I introduce you at the beginning of the show. It's easy for me to say actor, writer, director, producer. How would you, in one or couple words, describe what you do? I think at this point, that's a great question. At this point, I would say that I'm more of an entrepreneur than anything else. And second to that would be producer. I am producing my own films. I have a feature film, a television pilot, and another kind of secretive project that I will reveal in time. So those 3 things I'm producing on the side. And then, of course, I have Film Interchange. And the idea behind Film Interchange is really just to help filmmakers move forward. And I suppose that gets confusing as to what my job title is because I started as an actress myself. Yeah. And people still come to me and they say, oh, Jenn, it's so great that you're doing this. Come act in my film. And I just say, no, I have no interest. I don't know what it is, but I've lost the acting bug.
Interesting.
It'll come back.
Yeah.
One day it will. I'm not really concerned about it. I'm focused on building the business and producing projects and figuring out how to get all filmmakers projects moving forward faster.
Which is fantastic. I mean, it's a noble pursuit of yours that you've taken on.
Thanks.
Let's go back to the beginning. You said you went back home in New Jersey. You grew up in New Jersey?
I grew up in Newton, New Jersey.
Newton, New Jersey. Describe to somebody who doesn't know Newton, New Jersey, what Newton, New Jersey is like.
Absolutely. It is country. It is mountains. It's farm, cows, apple orchards. It is so beautiful. It's ridiculous. Out my back window is just this gorgeous view of hills and mountains, and you see giant birds flying, and
nice.
Deer run through my backyard regularly. You could see a bear or two.
Wow.
I mean, it's really country. In the fall, I love the fall in that area. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. And there's this one farm in particular that takes their cornfield, and they carve it out to be like this really intricate maze.
Yes.
And then they build a bonfire and they sell, tea and hot cider and like hay rides. It's so cool. It's like my favorite thing to do.
So growing up, you had more of a country lifestyle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of stuff were you into?
Well, that's interesting. I'm the family of. What did that mean?
You are the family of, and it's English is what you make of it.
Okay. My family is. I can't speak suddenly. A bunch of musicians. I think we just sort of happened in the country by accident.
Oh.
Because my parents are choral conductors and they got hired as, choir teachers in the local schools.
Oh, okay.
And so they moved there for that purpose and then started tons of music stuff. So my mom has a professional children's chorus in the area. My dad does the church choir and he has an adult, community choir that he does. And they're just sort of beloved in my area, like really well known. People adore my family, and it's
that's great.
It's awesome, and it's a really it's a great heritage to go back to, and people just know who we are, and it's just funny.
That is very cool. I mean, when you grow up in a town, sometimes, especially I grew up in a commuter town, and my dad was always in the city, and so were most kids' dads and or moms. And so your parents weren't necessarily all that well known, especially professionally. But in your town, they know who your parents are.
Everybody knows my parents. Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. I can't go home and go to a restaurant without people being like, either they know who I am or they say, how's your dad or how's your mom?
That's fantastic.
They're doing this, that, and the other. I can't go anywhere. I can't go to ShopRite. I can't go anywhere.
Is that what they both ultimately wanted to do? Or they were other kind of musicians prior to that? Or?
Nope. They both wanted to conduct choirs and... I think in particular what both of them have a talent about is taking somebody who's not a singer and helping them to sing and helping them to have an outlet for that. And it's beautiful to watch and something I'm very proud of.
So psychologically, I think I'm starting to pick up maybe why you're doing what you're doing now.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that.
Yeah,
as far as your interest in performance, obviously you saw your parents working with performers. When did your interest in being a performer start?
Early. Really.
What's your earliest memory?
5, maybe younger. Yeah. Okay. My brother and I used to put on plays for the company that would come over.
Okay, sure.
And actually my brother would make me do it and I'd always be like, I don't want to.
Older or younger brother?
He's older.
Older, I assume.
Yeah, he's older. But I always pretended like I didn't want to, but I really just kind of secretly wanted to take over the show.
Of course.
I don't know what we would do. We would just tell jokes and start singing and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. People loved it. We were kids. I don't know.
At that age, I don't think it really matters exactly what you're doing. I think it just matters that you're doing something. On a more serious level, what kind of path did you take? I mean, did you have access to acting when you were younger, or beyond the living room shows?
Yeah, sure, right.
Yeah.
Well, the living room shows were really fancy.
Those are the best shows ever.
Yeah. Yes, actually specifically the local high school, which my dad was the choir conductor there.
Yeah.
The shows, the musicals in particular, were just really well done. Sometimes I still think back on that. I think, wow, I was so lucky to be a part of that high school because the caliber of the shows were just on point.
Yeah,
they were so good. The sets, the costumes, the dedication from the faculty, it was just awesome. So point being is that, yes, my dad was affiliated with that. So of course, whenever they needed kids, they'd always tap into my brother and I. And,
so you got to jump into the high school plays. I had a similar situation when I was younger because I went to a school that was also really good for theater. So I got a lot of, basic training done while I was still in school. But, every once in a while they needed kids. And one of my first opportunities was when I was in 6th grade being in a show with high school kids. That was like a big deal. Like, what?
Yeah. Same experience, and thought it was so cool.
Very cool. Yeah. And when did you start to think about that as a professional option for you?
Early. I can't really pinpoint a time. I always knew that acting and singing was going to be my future.
Yeah.
And my parents were very supportive about it. I will say, just coming from the family that I had, the singing component was the main thing.
I can imagine. Yeah. It's like being in a butcher's son. You're probably going to be a butcher in your blood. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of opportunities singing wise. Like, I did New Jersey All-State Chorus and All-Eastern Choir and National Choir. And like my parents always knew when auditions were happening, and we always got my stuff in on time, and I always got in, and it was fantastic.
Great.
So, I didn't have as much with acting, like straight acting.
Yeah.
But there was always acting through singing for me.
Which for a lot of people ended up being their outlet for performance.
Sure.
And then transitioning to just straight acting ends up being a little bit of a challenge. Mm-hmm. Where did you end up going after high school?
I went to the University of North Carolina, Greensboro.
Which is a big school.
Why
there?
Because, you know what? It's funny what you choose when you're a kid. Looking back, it's like I think I always knew that acting, even straight acting, was more of an interest of mine than singing itself. Not that I didn't love singing. But I don't know. It's sort of like when you're with a family that like that's your tribe, and like that's the family business. Everything is music. I just ended up going into music thinking, okay, if I do vocal performance, it will open doors for me acting wise.
Right.
And I don't know why it didn't clue me in from the start. Like maybe you want the acting because you wanted the singing to open the acting doors.
Yeah. But when you don't know, and nobody's necessarily going to teach you that. You have to discover that for yourself. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people get into that sort of, I don't want to call it a trap, but it's that mistaken idea that my success in one area of this business will translate to interest in other areas. And it doesn't always work out that. In fact, it rarely works out that way because each thing that you might do is a separate discipline.
Totally.
And therefore requires a certain amount of experience and training. Mm-hmm. So at North Carolina, what did you focus on? Fraternity parties. And I like how you specified fraternity parties and not sorority parties. I was not a
sorority girl. What was so funny is that, I always looked at sororities like, oh, no, I'm not going to pay for my friends. And yet at the same time that I still went to all the fraternity parties. So it really made no sense. I was just like, I was still kind of part of Greek life. But no, I think Greek life is great. And I actually wish that I did join a sorority, but I just didn't have time.
Were you involved in theater?
Yes.
Which can be its own
it's its own
fraternal organization.
Yes. So it's its own Greek life.
Yeah.
Because it's Greek theater.
Of course, yes. You did,
right.
You did Euripides and stuff.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
How intense was that program?
It was really intense. It was awesome. I was very fortunate to go there for a lot of reasons. One, they built a whole new facility the year that I showed up.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, it was gorgeous. I mean, it was just like...
They knew you were coming.
They knew I was... Yeah, it was for me, obviously.
We better step it up.
Right.
Because the Mello's kid is coming to town. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, just really just state-of-the-art building, beautiful recital halls, 2 of them. The performance spaces were gorgeous. But then being a choir kid from way back, the choir experience was truly special. So you were able to do both choir, and that was not something that they saw as a challenge or a negative to be able to do. Because I know some kids, and I say kids makes me feel old, but I know some 18-year-olds when they go to school to do music, and whether it's voice or an instrument, that's like a conservatory, serious. You have to spend all your time on that. Right. You don't necessarily have time to jump around to
also do acting or do musical theater. And if you're in musical theater, you don't have time to do choral work. And so you were able to do that.
I was able to do that. But actually, the choir was part of my degree. With the music degree, I had to be in an ensemble. I ended up being in 2 just because I love it. And, so that was great. But as far as the performance in like a musical or an opera, that was always separate. So it was either you auditioned and got in or you didn't. And so it was just kind of a separate experience.
Oh, okay. So we not necessarily involved in, like, let's say the drama track or whatever they might have called it. Yeah.
Yeah. I sort of made it up as I went along.
That's how you see. I think not enough kids do that. I mean, and I've said this 8 billion times, that the idea of having an 18-year-old choose the rest of their life is insane.
It's insane.
It's absolutely absurd. So the more flexible a program can be and offer more opportunities, I think it's better. And if I was to sit down with a 16, 17-year-old before they start looking at colleges, I'd say to them, hey, go with one that allows you to, pick and choose a little from column A, a little from column B.
Totally.
Because otherwise you get stuck in something and you may not love it, and all you'll end up with it is debt. So, and in your experience, you went through the choral training, and it's obviously still part of you and always has been. But what was your next step once you finished school?
When I finished school, interesting. I mean, kind of going on the same theme of when you're 18, you really don't know, but then you get into your program and it starts to become a little clearer.
Yeah.
By the time I was a senior, I knew that acting was where it was at.
Which is interesting because it was acting and not necessarily the music.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I still always wanted to use the music to get my foot in the door.
So where do you go?
So I moved to New York. I just full on moved to New York.
Which for you, I mean, how often were you going to New York growing up in
Jersey?
Jersey.
Decently enough. I mean,
so
I was
exposure
an hour
to
outside. Yeah. Always going to Broadway, always knowing that Broadway was my path. It was never opera, although a lot of people pushed me in that direction. I was just like, no, it's not for me.
Right.
I liked studying it, but no.
Yeah. So you had enough knowledge of New York to say, you can do that.
Exactly.
And what did you do?
Well, I moved to New York, and then I was like,
now what?
Yes, exactly.
Which is the same thing that everybody goes through.
Everybody goes through that because they don't prepare you in undergraduate programs for actual, like, on the ground performance experience.
Absolutely.
They just sort of say, here's the craft.
Yes. But they don't teach you the business.
They don't teach you the business, and then and they don't give you any tools. And it's just so completely overwhelming.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember calling up people saying, hey, can I go to, like, this equity call? Like, what is that? I don't know what that is.
Which is crazy because that's such an essential part of being on Broadway or off Broadway is knowing how to navigate that whole system. And if you don't have any idea what equity is to begin with coming out of college, you're way behind.
Oh my! And I felt way behind.
Yeah.
I will say that I the minute I came into New York, I was like, oh my God, I'm so old. And what was I, 22? I mean, like,
over the hill, totally.
So, yeah. But I just, and also though too, I felt behind because I didn't focus on straight acting in undergrad. So then that was another hurdle. Like, okay, I got to get myself into some acting classes.
Right.
I remember popping into Drama Bookshop on a regular basis and literally picking up every postcard that they had. That was my thing.
Wow.
I just went in there, like, right when you walk in that door.
Sure. Yep.
It's on the left-hand side. Like, everything that was there went into my bag, and then I would walk out because I was completely broke. I couldn't buy anything. But,
right. But you had reading material now.
But I had reading material.
Yeah.
I knew plays that were going on around town, and that's kind of how I started my education.
That's a pretty good piece of advice,
right?
Actually.
Yeah.
If you're considering this and you're not sure where to go, there is definitely a lot of free options for you to go at least watch people doing it and then make contact with people who know what they're doing. Drama Bookshop is a good answer.
Drama Bookshop.
And all the free postcards. Or a lot of any of the rehearsal spaces, you'll see a ton of postcards. I never really thought of that as an opportunity for learning, but you're 100% right. It totally is. Yeah.
And you know what? I probably should have clued in right then and there that I like to go pick up data and go home and put it into my spreadsheet in my computer.
Really? Seriously?
I'm not kidding.
Wow.
It's like this weird organizing thing. I should have realized at that time that producing was my path.
It's really hard to, but I would think that being in your early 20s, mid 20s, even maybe late 20s, it's really hard to know that you can be a good producer because there's no real path to picking up all that stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's only until you kind of reach that point where you realize, oh, you know what? This is kind of what a producer does.
Yeah.
I should maybe do that. So you finally got some postcards in your hand and you were in New York and you were trying to learn the process. What was the thing that put you on the right path, at least for that part of your career?
You know what? I think I kind of was just this free bird for a while.
Mm-hmm.
For about 3 years, I had a plan. I didn't have a plan. I just was sort of all over the place.
Did you have headshots?
I did have headshots.
Okay, right.
I like the nuts and bolts stuff. I like the business side.
So you understood the marketing aspect?
Yeah, I understood the marketing aspect. And yes, I would go to auditions, but I preferred, again, to sit at my own computer and self-submit myself. And if somebody would call me in, then I would go. I did not have any interest in getting in a cattle call line.
No.
That just was not going to happen. And
well, even though I'm not quite as organized as half of what you seem to be, I learned very quickly. I was talking about this with somebody last night where it's like the idea of the cattle call is just absurd because that's what headshots are for. If I'm not appropriate based on my picture, don't tell me to show up.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't invite me to show up.
Yeah, and I get what they do for union roles.
Well, yes, the equity part of it, yes, I do understand that.
Sure.
But I was specifically talking about a situation where it was an audition, in quotes, where you submitted yourself. They sent a thing back saying, okay, great, be here on this day at this time. Uh-huh. And I spent like 2 hours at this place, and all they did was typed everybody out on the spot. So it was like,
but I got up at 5 a.m.
Like for what? Mm-hmm. It's like you do your job of culling before you start auditions and everybody's going to be happier.
Yeah.
You're going to save a lot of money and you're going to do better.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, I don't mean to derail. So you started to create your database and you started to develop a sense of what you were doing. But it took 3 years for what to happen?
Not really anything. I'm not gonna lie to you. I just really was young and being kind of stupid,
as you tend to be at that age.
Tend to be, yeah. And I will say that post undergrad situation, I had some vocal damage.
Oh, okay.
It really weighed on me a lot.
Sure.
I didn't feel comfortable going into a musical theater audition, but I also didn't feel comfortable going into the straight theater audition because I didn't really have that education behind me.
You didn't feel you had the chops.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, no, I had the chops.
Well, you had the natural talent, but not necessarily the seasoning.
Yeah, I felt like, is everybody going to know that like I haven't had any official training with straight theater? And, so I was sort of in like this weird limbo.
Yeah.
And finally, again, musical family, my brother is a little older than me, and he is a professional singer, and he had found this teacher in New York who was off the charts amazing.
You want to?
Yeah, his name is Brian Gill. He's Dr. Brian Gill. Dr. Brian, as I call him now.
Brian.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was at NYU, and I ended up starting lessons with Brian and just really kind of taking in how intense my vocal damage was. And I just thought, okay, I'm going back to school. And I went back to NYU. I didn't even apply anywhere else. I said to Brian, I'm going to apply to get into NYU. It was April, by the way, that I decided to do this. And I was like, do you think I could get in?
Time of year.
Yeah, right. I know. Yeah. Do you think I could get in? And do you think I could get in for the fall? And he goes, yes, done.
Oh.
So he made sure to help me get that audition. So obviously I had to audition, but he made sure I got into that last audition spot. And then of course I got in on my own.
Oh, there you go.
And thank God. I mean, that program in and of itself, because I was able to work with Brian once a week, every week. He fixed my voice. He changed my life. Wow. And then I stopped singing. It's just like, wait a minute.
What was the program exactly at NYU that you entered?
It was the Steinhardt School, musical theater. Mm-hmm. And, they really focus on vocal health in that program.
Interesting. What's something that, because I have not had vocal training since probably high school. On any sort of level. So what's one basic thing that you picked up there that's stuck with you?
Are you sure you want to ask? I will nerd out on you.
Go ahead. This is half
second.
Do you understand what this podcast is?
Yeah,
if you're not interested in this business, you probably will have tuned out way earlier than now.
Yeah.
So I think everybody is on board with hearing something like this. I think because it could be instructive and helpful.
Yeah. Well, I think, again, post undergrad, if you had asked me, okay, Jen, you're a singer, you've been a singer your whole life. Now explain explain singing to me, what is it? I would have just been like,
so you just did it.
I don't know. Yeah. Post NYU, working with Dr. Brian Gill, he really helps you to understand the anatomy and physiology of your own voice, your own sound, your own body.
Okay.
But he does it in a way that's sort of counterintuitive. So instead of saying, hey, do this, he says, okay, here's an exercise, and he gives you an exercise, and it helps you find a new placement in your singer's mask, if you will. And from there, he says, okay, that was different from what you did before. Explain that. Tell me what sensations you're feeling. And he makes you put it into your own words and in your own sensations, so you really understand what it is. And until it's quote unquote fixed, you're not going to know what it is or what the actual terms are or why it is what it is.
Okay.
You just feel your way through your own body.
Interesting.
And once it's fixed, then he will kind of clue you in on what happened. It could take weeks. It could take months. There were a couple of things that I didn't get for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's not, it sounds like he doesn't have that one size fits all approach, which is great, I think.
Exactly.
Because I mean, every actor is different, every performer is different, and everybody's going to respond to different stimuli for learning. So that to me makes a heck of a lot of sense.
Totally.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So you went through that program.
Went through that program.
And how long do you were
there for 2 years?
2 years. Okay.
And then when that was done, I started getting back out there and auditioning for real. I had already had an agent at the time, and for whatever reason, here I had this musical theater degree from NYU, and I kept getting called in for film. Over and over again.
Interesting.
Exactly. That's what I thought. I was like, oh, okay. Well, this is a turn of events.
Well, do you think that the fact that you went through the NYU program for musical theater or anything told casting people that you were seriously trained and that you were serious about your career?
Yeah.
You think that's maybe part of it?
I think absolutely. I also think for whatever reason, I test well on screen. I always have. However, I think part of the reason why I wasn't getting called in for musical theater is because I'm just not your typical musical theater type.
And because I mean, I didn't obviously know you right in college. We only met a couple of years ago.
Right.
But even now, you don't seem to be all that removed from what I would think a musical theater person could look like. So in what way do you say that?
I think most people who end up having, successful ongoing musical theater careers tend to have, they all seem to have a similar essence that I just don't seem to have.
Okay. So it's not an external thing. It's an internal thing.
It's an internal thing. It's not
that I can understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not to say that I can't pop in here and there. I'm perfect for Sondheim. I always have been. I'm perfect for dark musicals. Anything that has like some drama to it. But any traditional musical theater with a lot of dance, upbeat, funny, I'm not going to say that.
What is it about them and what is it that you don't think you match up with? Like, you said the essence.
Well,
so how do you qualify
a triple threat. I can move, but I can't dance.
Okay.
So I'm certainly a leading lady. But I just, I don't know. It's that there's just an energy that I don't have.
It's something you just can't quite put your finger on.
Can't quite put my finger on it.
Fair enough. It's the essence.
It's the essence.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. And I'm okay with that.
Right.
It's completely fine.
And we're at what point, or did you start to get any sort of regular work out of all this?
I did, again, because I would go back to my spreadsheets. It was really just sort of what I wanted to do. I started paying attention to what roles do I want to play. And I kind of split it up between theater and film. Like, obviously, you don't know a film role until it's presented.
Sure.
But theater, it's totally different.
Yeah, everybody knows most of everything until it's a new musical, right?
Until it's a new one, right? So I had like this spreadsheet going of roles that I had to play that were my exact type at that time.
Okay, yeah.
And I just started looking at all the regional theaters around the country. I wasn't even focused on Broadway. I just was all over the country. Who's doing the plays with the role that I want? And that is a very different thing.
It's something I never actually thought of until you just mentioned that. The fact that with theater, you can go hunt down the roles you already know match you, as opposed to trying to see if you can match the roles that are out there.
Exactly.
And it's a very different way to look at it. And I'm not a theater guy per se, so I never actually put 2 and 2 together there. So that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
Fun.
Okay, so what happened based on that search?
I booked the play, my favorite play, Boeing. Farce, hilarious about, this American guy in the 60s living in Paris and his swinging pad. He has 3 girlfriends, all of which are stewardesses. Of course, we all know they're flight attendants now, but at the time they were stewardesses.
In the 60s, yeah.
Yes, and one was Italian, one was American, and one was German, and I played the American.
Okay.
Which was just so much fun. Over the top. Even though it was American, I still had an accent. It was just like, I want to eat pancakes. Just really...
Typical 60s.
Typical 60s, just like, and it was farce. So it was heightened speech and just, obviously everything unravels on this guy.
Yeah. Where did you do that?
In Colorado.
In Colorado.
It's fantastic at a theater called the Lake Dillon Theater Company.
Yeah.
It was an amazing experience. It was
How
there
long was that
for
run?
about 2 months.
Okay. Including rehearsal or?
Including rehearsal.
Sounds
We had
a short
11 days of rehearsal.
Wow.
And then boom. Yeah.
You performed for a month and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's pretty short, isn't it?
It was pretty short.
Yeah.
But it was great.
Where else did you end up going around that time?
Around that time, after that, I went to Long Wharf Theater in New Haven, Connecticut, Tony Award-winning theater, a place. It was kind of a dream place. It was funny because actually when I was sitting at my audition for that play, I was reading the biography of John Lithgow, like just prior to my audition. And as I'm reading his biography, he's going through as his career started to just really blossom. And he knew he really did something because he booked this amazing role at the Long Wharf Theater. And I was like, I'm sitting in the lobby right now. Like it just was so serendipitous.
That's a magical moment right there.
It was totally magical. And I did end up booking that role as well, which was at Children's Theater. And it was awesome. I played
very cool.
a raven. I was a bird. And I was kind of bitchy. But that was her. It wasn't me.
Were you outed as bitchy in the show?
No, that wasn't.
Was that part of the script?
Wasn't in the script. No.
Yeah.
But she was kind of mean. She,
mean.
Yeah, because the other characters, we had a spider and a fox.
Well, it's a children's show. You have to have somebody who's mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
and you would think he would have been a spider, but it was me. It was the raven.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nevermore. What started the transition away from acting for you?
I sat down with this incredible man named Michael Roderick. I don't know if you know him.
He interviews playwrights.
He does. He does a lot of things.
Yeah.
And yes, he interviews playwrights.
Well, you should specify who is Michael Roderick.
Michael Roderick has a company called Small Pond Entertainment, and he really focuses on. He calls himself a connector, and he connects people. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've met some sort of artistic professional, a playwright or an actor or, a producer of some kind, you name it. And I say, oh, do you know Michael Roderick? Of course. That guy knows everybody. He really does.
I think I only know him through Facebook, but the fact that I know him says a lot. Yeah.
It says a lot. So he coaches would-be entrepreneurs in the artistic space as to how to get their projects out there, how to get their businesses out there, what have you. He can help you get it out into the world. So he sat down with me at a coffee shop one day and said, well, Jen, what do you want to do? And of course I was still very much actor focused. I had realized that doing more film was absolutely the path that I wanted to take as an actor. And he said, and this was the sentence that changed my life. He said, look to the industry in which you want to be a part, find a hole, and fill it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I really thought about that for a while. I mean, really let it ruminate for about 2 weeks and just sort of brainstormed about it. What could this be? What does this mean? And I came up with, and I will fully admit that the first Film Interchange event, which was called Film Forward at the time, I'll explain why I changed the name. But the first event was me just thinking, well, hey, I really want to do more film. I want to learn more about it. I don't feel like I really understand the process, and I'd like to educate myself. And if I want to educate myself. Other people probably want to educate themselves. I was thinking actors at the time.
Yeah.
So let me just host this event. And, I put a hodgepodge panel together. I mean, it makes no sense looking back at it. It was like a casting director, a director, and a producer, all of whom didn't know each other. They were at various different levels of their career. There was no cohesive conversation.
Sure.
But whatever, I just put them on a panel. They all agreed. And then through social media, I just started reaching out to filmmaker groups, actor groups, what have you. And that was the first event.
Wow. And when was that?
That was April of 2012.
Okay.
That was my first event. And
why oddly?
Because it was so long ago. And I didn't keep it going in 2012.
Oh, okay.
It really didn't start again until 2013.
Okay.
Because in 2012, I was like, okay, now I did this. And it was awesome. Mm-hmm. And then I didn't know what the heck it was. And I didn't know what to do with it.
That can happen. I mean, that's sort of, it's interesting. This podcast is a good example of that. It took me a good solid year to figure out exactly what I wanted this to be. Mm-hmm. And once I started it, it started to identify itself.
Yes.
But sometimes, when you have an idea, whether it's a script or, a film or anything really, you kind of sort of don't know what it is sometimes until you live with it for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you do. And you can really live with it for a long time, much longer than you anticipate.
Yeah.
So, and off of that one event, it's interesting. I had a good friend who said to me, right before I was having the first event, she said, she's like, what's your ultimate goal with this? And I thought, I don't even really know, and she was like, I think that's great because you know what? You're going to go down this road. You're going to open this door and other things will just sort of open for you.
Sure.
You just kind of have to do it.
Right.
And at first, what opened was, people who came to my first event started saying, oh, I'm going to film this commercial. I would love for you to be in it. And I got like 3 commercials off of it. I got a short film. And so it kept me busy for the better part of that year. And I just kept thinking, all right, well, I'm going to go with this. It was paid work and it was good. And
yeah, why not?
Why not? And kind of let it ruminate a little bit more. And then I didn't get back to the next event until the fall. And that's when Hurricane Sandy hit.
Oh,
and it just
of course.
knocked out I was planning to, I had like about 2 events that I was putting together and just knocked it out entirely. Didn't do anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
January 2013 is when I launched it again.
Okay. So January 2013, you said it was Film Forward.
It was Film Forward at the time.
And when did it become, why did it change?
Okay. So this is a fun story. So I, when I was coming up with the name, and this was in the first installment of April 2012, I started Googling, as you do, looking for Film Forward, because the idea behind that was film forward, pay it forward, and film it forward.
Okay,
pay forward.
Sure, makes sense.
Yeah. So that's what I was doing, and I Googled. I couldn't find anything for that. I got a domain name. Like everything looked good. Uh-huh. And then I find out that Sundance.
Oh no!
Decided to create.
Course.
Yeah.
That's
they decided
to
create something called Film Forward. And apparently it had been in the works for a while, but they hadn't announced it yet. So nothing was Googleable at the time.
And they didn't even claim the domain.
They didn't even claim the domain.
That's so funny. So you found out that Film Forward was not going to be an option.
Correct.
So what happened?
So what happened was, and this was a long time ago now, I know I got in touch with the head of, or rather they got in touch with me, the head of Film Forward. Which was great. We had a couple of little meetings. We chatted, and I actually have to follow up with them now because there was always something on the table that they would come and speak at the Film Interchange as I changed the name. But it never has worked out thus far, and doesn't mean that it won't. But it opened the door to a connection that will be used whenever we can make it work.
Turning a negative into a positive.
Exactly.
Very cool.
Yes. Very cool.
So now that you have identified. And we've gotten us up to timeline-wise. What you have Film Interchange established. That is what this is.
Right.
Now that you're here, a couple of years into it, what is Film Interchange?
Oh, gosh, it's gone through so many installments. So actually, it should be noted first before we even get into that, is that, 2013, it was going like gangbusters. It was 1 event per month for the whole year. Mm-hmm. And it worked really well. And I loved it, but I still was like, I don't feel like I'm really serving the community. And that's really been at the heart of it for me, is that I want to be able to serve filmmakers and help them move their projects forward faster.
Okay.
And I think discussion is always an amazing thing and networking is always an amazing thing. But I just felt like one event per month was neither a sustainable business.
No, it's very difficult.
Yeah, it was too difficult because it certainly was enough work for a full-time business, but not...
You weren't getting the return on a full-time business.
No return whatsoever, really.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And, but, only once a month, that's not really creating community among the people who are coming because there's always different people.
So it was too busy. It was too busy for sustaining long-term, but it wasn't often enough to really connect people in a more thorough way.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So that was kind of the first hurdle. So as I start thinking that through and how I can possibly change that a bit, again, when you start something, doors open that you don't expect.
Sure,
and I
absolutely.
suddenly got this offer from a brand new tech startup company called Relio.
How to spell that?
Reelio.
Okay.
Relio.
Okay.
They are the match.com between brands and YouTube content creators.
Okay. Yes.
So kind of in the film world, but not at all. It was a tech startup. But, they offered me a full-time job and I just figured, okay, well, that's cool. Here I was, an actress, my entire work history is acting work. I never thought I would get a desk job.
Yeah.
And suddenly I have this awesome offer from this incredible up-and-coming company that I just couldn't respect them more. And I thought they were so
fantastic.
cool.
Yeah, it's got to be really validating to your effort putting these monthly events up.
Yes.
That's really great.
Just awesome.
Yeah.
So I took that job thinking full well, okay, I can work on Film Interchange at nights or on the weekends, as you do when you're just still trying to find your voice.
And it's not like they didn't appreciate it. So if they found out you were working on something on the side.
Yeah, and they knew.
Yeah, they knew.
So it was fine. Yeah. The problem was it was a tech startup and tech startups are like 70, 80-hour work weeks. And I didn't really think that through. But gosh, I loved that job. It was fantastic. And I just started feeling the pangs, 4 or 5 months in being like, I can't keep both these things going. And I wasn't. Film Interchange just sort of fell by the wayside and it was breaking my heart. Uh-huh. And I just kind of knew at that time, all right, I need to get back to Film Interchange. And no sooner did I say that than I had this opportunity to then go transition into a film distribution company. Out of nowhere, I got this offer from Candy Factory Distribution.
Wow.
And they said, we'd love for you to come and be a consultant for marketing for a little bit. And I just thought, this is a great transition.
Sure.
I'll leave Relio totally on great terms. They understood. And I moved into the film space for like this temporary 3-month gig.
Yeah.
And it was this amazing opportunity at Relio, I sat at the desk with my CEOs. I saw how they were building this, multi-million-dollar business that is truly blowing up right now. I mean, you guys should check them out. And it was just a crash course MBA for me, just like learning how to build a business.
Sure,
and then I move into Candy Factory Distribution. That was like really crash course into distribution. Also, ground floor building a business as well.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, and now this is over. You are now free to go build your own business.
Wow. That in there is really, truly learning on the job, learning through experience as opposed to sitting in a business class and having somebody lecture you about how these things happen.
Yeah,
you saw it in action, and that's really valuable.
It was awesome.
That's great.
Awesome.
Wow.
However.
There's a however.
Yeah. As I then got into my spring season 2015 for Film Interchange, I just totally thought, okay, great. This is how I'm going to build it. I'm going to build out a season pass. If you want to do the season pass, then you're in like a class of other people who want to do the season pass.
Right.
I have 2 events per month for like a 3-month span of time for my spring season. And then if you didn't want the full season, you could do this a la carte thing.
So just to fully explain that, you were still doing the Film Interchange events.
Yes.
And explain what a basic Film Interchange event is.
So the idea behind it is to take what I now call my thought leaders. I don't know why I wasn't thinking thought leaders from day one.
Thought leadership is a big term now.
It is a big term. And I think it really explains the heart of what I've been trying to do from the beginning. I mean, I used to call my thought leaders, I would call them my guest speakers, but they're not guest speakers because they don't prepare anything. They show up and they get interviewed.
Right,
and
right.
much in the way that you and I are doing it right now.
Yes, which is how you and I sort of found common ground right from the get-go.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So go on.
So, the idea is to bring in these thought leaders, people who have created a great deal of success in the film space, and talk to them about how they got there and what were their X, Y's, and Z's and what were their pitfalls and when did they fall on their face in the sludge and not be able to get back up. And,
right.
But how did they get to this incredible career that they've been able to carve out and build for themselves?
Which is great because you're not just talking about the successes, which can be hard for the young or newer filmmaker to relate to. That was the day I rubbed elbows with, I don't know, Harvey Weinstein.
Right.
And it's like, good for you, but what does that have to do with me?
Right.
By asking them the pitfalls, it allows a filmmaker to say, oh, that's kind of like what I'm going through right now.
Exactly.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So when you go through the process of the Q&A, then, you're asking them questions.
Yes.
And then what do you offer after that?
After that, it's just, then it's more of a discussion for the people who come to the events as well. I always say at the beginning, we have one rule, which is if you have an on-topic question, feel free to raise your hand. We can pull it in there. Let the discussion unfold as it does. And then once the official, formal part of the interview ends, we'll open it up for Q&A.
Yeah.
Which is great because then anybody who comes to the room gets their specific questions asked and answered. And I do encourage people to form questions prior to coming to, like if there's a burning question that they have for this particular thought leader, bring it with you,
Sure.
But then from there, they get to network with each other. After the discussion, they get to network with the guest speaker. And, you don't always get to meet these people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for case in point, I met Mark Farrell at one of your events, and he and I have stayed in touch, and I consider that an incredibly valuable person to know because he's so knowledgeable about the business, and he's been on the show. And if you haven't listened to that podcast, go back and listen to that episode because his knowledge is phenomenal, and to have access to people like that is serving the community of filmmakers and actors and whatever other parts go into making a film. There's room for everybody. I felt when I was there, which is great.
Great. Which is awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So some of your past guests, besides Mark Farrell,
who for those of you who don't know, he produced the pilot episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Right. He was in charge of A&E's biography series. And just IMDb him. It goes on and on forever what he's done. I had Allegra Cohen, producer. She's an independent producer who has done, she just finished a feature film last year that went to Sundance with James Franco. She also did a film last year called Manhattan Nocturne with Adrian Brody. She's really just kind of coming together and
she's actually she's an amazingly brilliant person.
She really is.
Who is on that maybe 3 steps ahead. If you say Mark Farrell is 15 steps ahead of where you are, you have people there who are maybe 3 steps ahead.
Yes.
Which is great also because it doesn't always help to hear from those people who are already well established, but people who are just ahead of where you are, which is fantastic.
Thank you. That's something I work very hard to curate. We need to hear from everybody because everybody who's out there in the business is out there in the business. They're doing it.
Right,
and,
which is another common ground that your events have to this podcast where it's like, no, maybe they're not household names, but they're busy in the business and they're living it every day. And that's the kind of people who you can learn from a tremendous amount. Now, I had sidetracked you because you were saying that you had your spring 15 season and you were still doing the events and you were offering a season pass or a la carte choices. So that was where you had set things up. But it sounds like maybe it didn't go as
work
planned.
So much. Yeah. it really didn't. And, that's okay. You have to throw things against the wall to see what sticks. And, I'm always checking in with the community to say, okay, did that work? Did that not work? Did you like that? Did you not like that? What's going on? And, as I've gotten into the fall season, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but as I've gotten into the fall season, the model that I have in place now has been kind of a group effort by everybody because they know that they have a voice at Film Interchange. And if they don't know, they should know because they do. I always want to hear back from everybody because this is the community. This community is for the filmmakers. It's not for me. It's for all of you guys. And I'm not just the curator. I'm also a client, like one of those things, like I'm a producer too, who's in the trenches trying to get my projects out there. And, I look at it like that. Like, what is it that I would want to hear? Why, what piece of the puzzle do I not quite know yet? And then look at it like that too.
Absolutely. So what makes your, upcoming season so different and why you're so excited about it?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm pinching myself with the guest speakers that have agreed to come. Thought leaders. Thank you. Gosh, wow. How did I just do that? I've been calling them guest speakers for so long. They really are thought leaders though. And, I think, again, when you go out there and you put a voice out into the world, people start to notice. Mm-hmm. And most of my season came to me. Mm. And that is definitely a pivot point in Film Interchange history, that I'm not, out there hustling, making sure that I get all these people. It was kind of the other way around.
Really?
Yeah.
What's an example of somebody who came to you this time?
An example of who came to me is Lithion Music. Mm-hmm. Lithion Music is connected to Allegra Cohen, who we just mentioned. Okay. And they have composed and scored soundtracks for Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, which was a Sundance Grand Jury Prize winner this year. Nickelodeon, Nick Jr., they're doing a lot of stuff for them, a lot of commercials, HBO documentaries that they have. It's all on their website, lithiummusic.com. And they're lovely, wonderful people who really just get it. Yeah. They understand how to capture the heart of a story and put it into a musical composition, and have a varied, different types of music for, the different scenes of your film. And
sure. I mean, that's definitely an art.
Oh, yeah.
And how did they end up coming to you?
They came to me because they showed up to one of my events.
Oh, there you go.
They came to support their friend, Allegra Cohen. And that's that. Yeah. That's where we met. And, so that's
the whole idea. I mean, that's why you do that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Very cool.
Yeah. So, and then who else came to me? Okay. Well, another great example. It's he did come to me because it wasn't the way that I anticipated. Adam Leipzig, who is, he's a former senior vice president at Disney. Yeah. He was the head of National Geographic for years, the president of National Geographic. Mm-hmm. He's a 10-time Academy Award nominee. This guy is whoa, you name the award, he's been nominated and or won. Sure. List goes on and on. He's also recently published 2 separate books that are now, he's looking to get them into all the top universities as the go-to text for filmmakers. Wow. And I mean, just to read it, it's
And you're offering opportunity for somebody to come and just rub elbows with him.
Exactly. I mean, this guy is whoa. So
I can see why you're excited.
I am very excited.
Who else is on the bill?
Oh, who else is on the bill is Dan Guando.
These are separate events, I should say. Who else?
They are separate. Yes.
Thought leaders.
As thought leaders. Yes. Dan Guando from the Weinstein Company. He's head of development, production, and distribution. So he's
a powerful guy.
Powerful guy.
Yeah.
He's second in command to Harvey Weinstein. So it's kind of a big deal. And he couldn't be nicer. He's just the greatest. Although I have to say, I don't know why, but his email inbox spits out my emails all the time. I'm damn. And it's funny. It's fine because he wrote to me today and he's so, and I'm oh, thank God. Yeah. Where have you been? But that's totally beside the point. And then through my lawyer, like, he just hooked me up with this guy, Damian Cardesis, who is at TIFF as we speak, Toronto International Film Festival, premiering Maggie's Plan, which stars Maya Rudolph and Julianne Moore and Ethan Hawke. And they also, they were at Berlin as well. Wow. And not at Sundance. Is it at Sundance? I can't remember. That's terrible. I need to look at my notes. But regardless, he's premiering that right now with his producing partner, Rebecca Miller, who is also the director of the film, and Rebecca is Arthur Miller's daughter.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
wow.
pretty huge.
Yeah.
And that was just through my lawyer.
Yeah.
So, it's all in who you've connected to and who you know, and people say, oh, you got to go check out Jenn's events and blah, blah, blah. And
that's the name of the game right there.
That's the name of the game right there.
Yeah. How many events do you have this season?
Okay, so this season is, and here's how it has changed up.
Okay.
It used to be spread out over 3 months, 2 events per month, yada, yada. This season is truncated into an 8-week span of time. It starts next Tuesday, the 22nd. There's 1 event per week. And the 8th week is a huge networking event for all the people who are admitted into the season. There is an application process now that was never in place before.
Interesting.
Yeah. And if you're admitted into the season, you get to come to each and every one of the events. And the 8th week, there is a networking party where every thought leader, not just from this season, but since the beginning of Film Interchange, will be invited. And they all get a guest as well.
That's pretty significant.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah. So it's curated networking. You know that you're going to be in the room among your filmmaking peers.
Sure. Which is in and of itself enough to be an attraction.
Exactly. But then there's so much more.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Also, for the first time this year, this season, one of the thought leaders is myself. And I have never done that before, but I'm picking a date right in the middle of the season to get up there and really motivate people and help everyone with moving their projects forward faster. Kind of a la Tony Robbins. And that's all I'm going to say for now, but I'm going to give everyone practical tips and tricks of just, okay, this, get your timelines together. I won't say more. It's kind of going to be a surprise.
Well, without revealing too much, just to whet someone's appetite, pick one piece of advice that you have taken from past events that you think is extremely valuable and fairly universal. And share that now, just as an example of something somebody can learn and immediately benefit from.
Cool. All right, absolutely. There's a theme. Actually, this is a theme that has popped up several times in different interviews of the filmmakers who have had the greatest amount of success move fast. Now, that's not to say that it still doesn't necessarily take them 2 years or more to get their film from concept to screen, but that whole span of time is like go, no waiting. And that's really the piece of the information, no waiting. If for whatever reason you can't get an answer from so-and-so, move on. You don't have time. You've got to move on to the next thing. And I think it's a really interesting piece of the puzzle, because otherwise your film might be on the shelf for 10, 15 years. I mean, I've heard of it. I've seen it happen.
Well, I've experienced it. Yeah.
Me too. so yeah.
Well, that's the idea. So, keep on moving and push it forward.
No waiting.
Film forward. That's what you should wait.
Ha ha. You're hilarious.
I am a funny clown.
And just 2 quick other things that I do want to briefly mention. The season for the fall obviously happens every Tuesday starting September 22nd and moving, for 8 weeks. But I also have 3 Saturday film finance events.
Oh.
So those people who are accepted into the Tuesday night program, you get to come to the film finance events for free.
Oh.
Should you choose to opt in, you don't have to come. But if you do, and if if you don't come because you have a conflict or something, like I'll give you the notes, I'm not going to, it's free for anybody who's accepted into the season. However, the Saturday events are open to, anybody who would like to come.
That's fantastic.
So that's all on my website as well. And then on October 10th, which is also a Saturday, I have a standalone event with Jim Jarmanek. He is awesome. He's a former agent at ICM. He worked with everybody. His resume speaks for itself. He has since gotten into directing and producing and writing his own work. And he has a workshop that he's doing specifically on the inner workings of film finance. It's a 5-hour workshop. It's its own thing.
That's
I'm
amazing.
hosting him. So I'm really just giving him a space to do his thing, and he's
great.
Awesome. So that's its own thing. Unfortunately, I can't offer that for free to anybody who is accepted into my season because it's its own thing.
But the information for that is on your website.
Also on my website.
All right. So how do people get in touch with you? How do people find out more about your events?
Absolutely. Well, obviously you wanna follow us on Facebook and Twitter, as you do. Those are my two. I you know what? I'll be on more social media in the future, but
there's so many of them.
There's too many. There's too many. I can't.
We're periscoping and
I just started periscoping.
You did start.
Yes, I did. Boy. I did my first one on Sunday, and I'm not even, or it was Saturday, and I totally messed it up. Actually, live in deception. On Thursday night, I was supposed to have my first one, and I went to go do it.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that my camera was turned on backwards.
Oh, that's so funny.
And I was outside because that's just where I had to be at the time.
Hard to see the screen?
It was dark. And I was just like, oh my God, why is it not on? And I didn't realize it was I feel so silly. I didn't realize my camera was turned around. So I was live and people probably were listening and could hear me. Yeah. And meanwhile, all they heard was, is this working?
I would go with the work fast unless the advice you dispensed on Periscope so far.
Right. Maybe don't pay attention to any tech advice that I ever have. I'm not good with graphic design, and I'm not good with anything tech.
All right, so on Twitter you are at Film Interchange?
At Film Interchange.
And same with Facebook, obviously. Website?
filminterchange.com.
And if people want to reach out to you personally?
filminterchange@gmail.com.
filminterchange@gmail.com. Oh, and before we go, we have to say thank you to Singy and Shafi from Dunkin' Donuts right here on Route 23.
Route 23 in Butler. We're in Butler,
New Jersey.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Awesome.
Hang out in Jersey, guys. Jersey Fresh.
Thanks for doing this.
Absolutely.
This is fun.
Yeah, this was great fun.
That's Jenn Mello. Great conversation with her, the CEO and founder of Film Interchange, somebody who took their career, took a hard look at it, realized that she wanted to do more than she was already doing, made some changes, tried some things, and now she is flourishing, helping others get their stuff done. And if you're somebody who's sitting there going, I have all these ideas, I don't know what to do with them, well, Film Interchange is a great place to start. Go to events like the ones that Jenn hosts, and you can rub elbows with people who are getting it done, and that's a great way to jumpstart your own creative career. So I can't recommend them enough. Networking is the name of the game in this business, and if you aren't doing that, start now. If you want to keep in touch with Jenn, you want to find out more about her company and the events that they hold, you can certainly go to filminterchange.com. You can follow them on Twitter at Film Interchange, and I will have links to both of those, as well as a couple others, in the show notes for this episode at bringyourownlunch.com. Thanks, Jenn, for hanging out and meeting me at the Dunkin' Donuts on Route 23 in Butler. I don't know why that's funny, but do go there and say hi to Singy and Shafi if you happen to be in the neighborhood. I think it would blow their minds if you did that. But I think it's very cool that they were nice to us, and I want to be nice to them because they're hardworking folk. And they couldn't have been more polite and nice to us, allowing us to annoy them by sitting there with a bunch of microphones and recording a podcast. So that's how we all work together, and that is great. I just want to thank Jenn for being cool and for hanging out and for providing so much information for people who want to get their stuff done. All right, that about does it for another edition of Bring Your Own Lunch. Glad you could join us. Thank you. Also, thank you, Banuba. That's the band you're listening to right now. Yeah, I'm a little bit sick still. Go to their website, download their music, buy their music, go see them live. They're awesome. And if you happen to do that, tell them Dave says hi and thanks. And don't forget to go to our website, bringyourownlunch.com. Find out all the information about the guests on this program, past, present, presumably future. You can like us on Facebook.com/BringYourOwnLunch. You can follow us on Twitter at BYOL Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at BringYourOwnLunch. And please, 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 if you have a moment, go to iTunes or Stitcher, rate, review, subscribe to this show, and then when you're done with that, tell the world you've done it. Throw it out there on social media. Use the BYOL hashtag and let everybody know what we're doing. If you think we're doing a good job, well, you can help us bring more out into the world simply by telling a friend. Stay tuned for Jimmy Jack's Cowpunch Hour, followed by Mansoor and the Fish, and until next week, when I have another great guest lined up, this is Dave. I'll see you next week. I need white venison.